I'm pretty sure your daughter was a little upset that you went to Disney without her.
Oh yeah. She it's funny because I asked her, I was asking the kids and, what they wanted me to bring them back. And Olivia usually gets a stuffed animal when she goes on vacation there. So I was like, hey, do you want me to bring you a stuffed animal back or just like a shirt? And she's like, just a shirt. She's like, I get stuffed animals when I go on vacation, not when you go on vacation without me. So I was like, okay, point taken. So she got a sweatshirt.
There was a little saltiness there. I really enjoyed her Facebook comments and Josh's responses to those Facebook comments. All right, hey, welcome back to another episode of Going Beyond the Castle. I am super excited to be back. I am your host, Fred Briley, and with me, of course, as always, is Lori Talamo, who is just returning like a week ago, but we're just going to say just returning from her trip to Disney. So, Lori, how are you doing today? You glad to be back from your trip?
I'm doing great. It's bittersweet. It's always when you're leaving a vacation, you're kind of sad to go home. However, this one was kind of long, and a portion of it was without my family, so I was definitely ready to get home and get back to the family.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure your daughter was a little upset that you went to Disney without her.
Oh yeah. She it's funny because I asked her, I was asking the kids and, what they wanted me to bring them back. And Olivia usually gets a stuffed animal when she goes on vacation there. So I was like, hey, do you want me to bring you a stuffed animal back or just like a shirt? And she's like, just a shirt. She's like, I get stuffed animals when I go on vacation, not when you go on vacation without me. So I was like, okay, point taken. So she got a sweatshirt.
There was a little saltiness there. I really enjoyed her Facebook comments and Josh's responses to those Facebook comments.
Yeah.
While you guys were on the trip.
And honestly, we would have taken her with us on this trip. I wanted to bring her with us. However, she can't because of cheer.
Yeah.
But it's good for us to take trips without him.
This too was this was like an agency trip kind of for you as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it actually started off. So my agency usually does something every year. I was not able to make the official agency trip this year. And actually the next one they're doing is in January. And I won't be able to do that one either because they both fell on cheer trip weekends.
Yeah.
So some of the ladies that I work with, we try to do different things that we haven't done before. And so it just kind of came up in conversation. This was back in January about, visiting Discovery Cove. And then a couple of the other ladies took it and ran with it and planned it. And so there was about 13 of us, I think, that did Discovery Cove. We were kind of split up between Universal and Disney for the rest of the trip. But there was 13 of us all together. Yeah. So then I decided, since I was already, that Josh should come and we could do a few days before, and then he would just leave and come home when I moved over to Universal. So it was kind of like a double vacation business trip.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like how you said it was a kind of long trip, but I'm over here thinking, man, we went for 2 weeks and she went for like a week.
I know. I don't know how I don't know that I could survive 2 weeks. I mean, I guess if I had the whole family, then, maybe so. I don't know that we would last 2 weeks in a hotel room together.
Well, and I think I've mentioned this on our podcast before, but up until this trip, we've always been like weavers. We leave on Sunday, we drive the 10 hours. We're there Monday through Friday. We drive the 10 hours back on Saturday. And that's enough. Yeah. So it was just a different experience for us. But without focusing back on my trip, we'll transition over to your trip. So it sounds like you had a really good trip, just from the pictures. I know one of the things we're going to have to talk about is your trip to Epcot and one of the desserts that you had, because I'm super excited to hear more about that. But we'll dive in and just kind of let you I'll let you have the floor, and you can kind of, give us a brief little introduction about where you stayed, how long you went for, things like that.
Gotcha. Okay. So Josh and I left on a Tuesday and we stayed until Friday. So the first portion of the trip was Disney and it was Tuesday to Friday. We usually try to do the early morning flights out just because those tend to be less chances of it canceling or postponing, or so we usually try to take the early trip. I do not like to do parks on arrival day in the event that there's flight delays or the cancellation. So it's usually just kind of a day to go in and relax and hit up Disney Springs, which is what we did. So for this trip was the first time staying at Port Orleans Riverside. I've stayed at French Quarter before, but I haven't stayed at Riverside. And the very first trip that we went on in 2014, we stayed at Port Orleans French Quarter. That was our first trip as a family. And I remember Josh was like, well, we're going to Disney to stay somewhere that's like home, because it was French Quarter. But I can say I did like French Quarter side better than Riverside.
Why?
We stayed in a standard in Alligator Bayou. And so the resort is so big. And I knew that kind of going in. Actually, I didn't have a standard room. I had a pool view room, but it was one of the smaller pools. It was very close to a bus stop. So if you're only going to the resort to just stay in the resort, hit the buses and go to the park, it was perfect. I mean, like we literally walked out of our room and not too far, we were at the bus stop. However, to go to the food court and the shops, we were kind of far back. I always say, and what I'll tell clients too, is that you're walking all day at Disney. So what's the difference if you have to walk a little bit more at the resort?
Yeah.
Of course, you're tired. You want to get back to your room. But in the end, you pick the place that works for you. One of the things about the room, I thought the room was nice and really didn't get much feedback from Josh until we kind of got home. The one thing about the bathroom is the showers have shower curtains instead of the doors, which we're not a fan of, because I feel like the doors get cleaned a little bit better than maybe the shower curtains might. So that was one of the things about the room that we didn't particularly care for. But overall, I mean, I thought the resort was nice. We were hanging out in the courtyard and they have the horse and carriage that was there. The food court, we ate in the food court. It was pretty nice. So first day we got there, we hit up Disney Springs, and we absolutely love Homecoming.
Okay.
So that's like a must for us. So I had made lunch reservations to go eat at Homecoming, and we wanted to try something different this time. Every time we go, I get the thigh-high chicken biscuits. So if you haven't been, or for anyone who hasn't gone, if you decide to go to Homecoming, those things are amazing. It's like a glazed chicken thigh that sits in between this buttery type biscuit. It's big. The biscuits themselves are big. They come 3 to an order. So usually you can share them with someone else. And we also love the Church Lady deviled eggs. So we did get those, but we decided to opt for something different. And we tried the fried chicken sandwich. And we just split it because we knew we were going to get dessert. So we shared the deviled eggs, the chicken sandwich, and then we got the hummingbird cake for dessert, which is amazing.
That sounds
the restaurant is like based on home cooked food. So there's a lot of fried chicken. There's a chicken and donuts plate. Everything is so delicious. Like we haven't been there and not enjoyed what we've gotten. They also have really good drinks, which we didn't drink any this time since we went for lunch. They have a variety of moonshines that don't taste like regular moonshine. Like there's a sweet tea moonshine. There's a sangria moonshine. So if you like to have drinks and comfort food, it's definitely a must. We love going to Homecoming. So we ate there, and then we shopped around for a little bit, and then we headed back to the resort because again we were up 3:30 in the morning to hit the early flight. So we were pretty tired. So we ate at the food court at Port Orleans that evening, and Josh tried the salmon, I believe, and I had the chicken parmesan. So which was good, and I felt like it was a little bit better than the chicken parm at Pop Century, which is a favorite.
Oh yeah, big favorite.
Yeah. So it was a little bit better. It was good. We really enjoyed it. So then we headed back to the room for a night in because we knew we were going to go early the next morning. Although I did try not to go super early, because remember Josh said he wanted to kind of have a relaxed trip.
Yeah.
However, it wasn't, and I'll tell you how that happened. So the next day we had plans to go to Animal Kingdom in the morning, and then we were going to head over to Hollywood Studios in the afternoon. We weren't really like ride focused this time, so I knew we weren't going to spend a whole lot of time in the parks, in each park, especially because we only had 2 days. So we kind of were going to do some of our favorites and maybe try some new things. Well, we really didn't hit the new things. Like we did Dinosaur, we did the Safari. I purchased the single pass for Flight of Passage. And then we were going to do Nemo because we hadn't done that one before. But at this point, it was probably about 2:30 because we didn't get to the park to maybe like 9:30, 10.
That's
like we did in the morning. Yeah. And so at this point, it was probably about 2:30. The next show for Nemo wasn't until 3:30. And we were kind of at the point where we were ready to go, maybe hit up another park.
Yeah.
So we left, which it was great. I love Animal Kingdom. We walked around in Discovery Island, and looked at all the animals. So it was just kind of like a chill morning. The plan was to head over to Hollywood Studios. However, my husband, the relaxer, had an idea to go to Magic Kingdom for a little while. So I'm like, okay, so we're going to do 3 parks today. So we went over to Magic Kingdom and did, some of our favorites. Like we did People Mover, we did Haunted Mansion, and then decided to just kind of walk around. We just didn't really do a ton of rides this trip. But however, we just went in June. So we did a lot of that stuff back then. And then we headed over to Hollywood Studios and did Toy Story Mania. And I think, and of course we did Rise of Resistance. And we did, my mind just went blank, not Star Tours, Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, Millennium Falcon.
Yeah. Yes. And that I can do Star Tours. I think we talked about this maybe on your trip report. I can do it maybe once, but I can't do it over and over. And then, of course, on Millennium Falcon, Josh and I got put with the family. And so we were the engineers. So we were in the back.
Every time.
Yes. And so the family that we were with, the 2 kids actually were in the middle. I forgot what they're called. And then the mom and dad were the pilots. But it was so funny because the kids were pretty much directing the parents, like, because I guess they didn't know what to do. And they were like, pull up. So it wasn't too bad. It wasn't shaking all over the place as if, small kids were up there. But yeah, we were the engineers.
There you go. So, very back, living your best life.
Yeah. And the plan to do Hollywood Studios at night was so that we could do Fantasmic. But again, it was 8:30. Fantasmic wasn't until 9:30. So we were kind of walking around like, okay, do we want to hang out? And we decided not to. So we headed back to go to the buses. Well, thankfully, when we got to the bus station, it just started misting a little bit. But by the time we got back to the room, it was raining pretty heavy. And I had some friends that were actually there. They waited an hour and a half and Fantasmic didn't happen. So I was kind of glad we left. That way we weren't stuck in the rain and then ended up missing it anyway. And so that was our first night. And I feel like we hit all seasons for weather during this trip. Because there were some hot days, there were some rainy days, and then there was a freezing day, which I'll discuss when we get over to Universal. So then our second day, we had planned to go to Magic Kingdom and then go to Epcot. Oh, I was wrong. When we went to Hollywood Studios the first day, we did not get to ride Toy Story Mania. The line was too long, and I didn't get the lightning lane for it.
Oh, yeah.
So the second day, we went to Magic Kingdom, and we kind of got there a little bit early. I think we got there maybe around 9. And we hit up Buzz Lightyear there. We did People Mover again. We did Haunted, I think, again. Same thing, just kind of walking around. We did Big Thunder Mountain, which is one of Josh's favorites. And then we decided to try out Pico's Bill again because they have the new menu out.
Yeah.
and it was good. I got the braised beef nachos. I didn't realize until we were sitting at the table that it was braised in cherry Coke. I totally missed that part. So
Okay.
they were really good. It was really good. However, it was really sweet. So it almost tasted like kind of like a barbecued pork almost. I mean, beef. So if you're not into like sweet and savory at the same time, then maybe not. But I don't know. It was good. It just was a little different, I guess, than what I expected.
Yeah.
But it was overall, the food was a lot better. It looked better. The choices were a lot better.
Yeah, I think we're going to try that on our upcoming Christmas party night. I'm trying to figure out what quick service we want to do. I'm thinking about hitting up Pickle Bill's.
Yeah, we usually do that one, or we'll do Columbia Harbor House and get the lobster roll, which is always good. But we decided to try this one instead. And then we decided, my relaxing husband decided that instead of heading straight to Epcot, let's go back to Hollywood Studios and see if we could get on Toy Story Mania. So we did. So we left Magic Kingdom. We headed over to Hollywood Studios, and we did Toy Story Mania. And then we did Millennium Falcon again. So
I was really impressed by Toy Story Mania. Like, it was the first time we rode it, like, in the past trip. I was really impressed by it.
It's so fun. It's so funny too, because I never win. Like, you ever see the TikToks where it's like, your family starts getting competitive when you walk in at Toy Story Mania?
Oh, yeah.
I try so hard to beat them. And I mean, I'll beat some of the family sometimes, but I never can beat Josh. Well, I beat him, but his wasn't working properly.
Hey,
yeah, because like he's shooting. Exactly. And I was like, hey, I think mine's working. We're in the same car, so I think it's just yours. Awesome. But yeah, it was definitely a win because his wasn't working properly. But that was it. We just went there to do that, and then we left and we headed over to Epcot. We had reservations at Via Napoli, which is my favorite. We ran and did Soarin'. And then it was time for us to eat. So we went over to Via Napoli and had pizza there. We actually shared, it was fried risotto balls as appetizer. And it had like some marinara sauce on it. That was really good. And they were huge. There was like, by the time I ate that and some salad, I was already kind of full for the pizza. Wow. But the pizza is so good that I still had to eat it. And then we get the pepperoni pizza. If you ever go with a large family, they have like the large pizza literally is like, I mean, the pan it's huge. Like we went a few years ago and my family of 4 and my in-laws all ate off the one pizza. So they have the small, even the individual seems like it might not be big enough for 2 people. And I was kind of like, oh, I'm really hungry. Probably should get the medium. But I'm glad we got the small because it was super big. And then with the appetizers too. But if you love pizza, Josh is like eat pizza a lot. Yep. Because there's not many places around. It's kind of similar to, what's it, Pizza Dominica? That's close to.
Okay. Yeah.
It's kind of similar to that. It's the wood fire pizza.
Okay.
So it's really good. Definitely recommend. And then after, as full as I was like, I don't care. I'm heading over to France and I'm going to get my pumpkin spice macaron ice cream sandwich.
So mad they didn't have it when we went. So mad.
Man, it's so good. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like like the shell is the macaron. So it's crunchy, but also soft on the inside. And then there's the pumpkin spice ice cream in the middle. Like, I really wanted to get 2 because I was like, don't know when I'll get this again. I mean, like the last 3 years, I've made sure to go in the fall, and get those. Although my agency trip, it's going to be, I think, next fall, but I'm praying that it's after October 1st so I can get it again.
I think it's got to be an October 1st thing. Like,
it must be because every time I've gone, it's been in October, and so actually, I don't know. I feel like the September trip with my agency, maybe not. I don't know. It's good.
Yeah, it There was
I recommend
anywhere in Epcot.
Yeah.
When we went.
And you're going, when is your Christmas trip?
November 14th. Yeah.
Yeah, they make, because it's seasonal. They have one, they always have a chocolate one. And then there's a second one that's a seasonal one. I don't know what the seasonal one would be November, December, but I would definitely go try and see. Yeah.
We don't have park tickets right now. We're just planning a day of the Christmas party. But if it's still available, it gets closer, I may go buy a park ticket and go to Epcot just to get this thing.
Yeah. Well, I'll find out. I'm sure you can too, but I have some agents that actually live there. And so they're in the parks frequently. So I can ask them to check it out when they go and see what the seasonal one is.
Yeah.
And then after Via Napoli, we just kind of walked around. And I'm trying to think if we did any other rides.
There's not a lot of rides at Epcot.
Yeah, there's not a lot of rides. I don't think we did that many. And I think we headed on back over to the resort. It was starting to mist a little bit again. And so just to make sure that we didn't get caught in the poor
you guys
rain.
didn't do any nighttime shows at Disney?
We did not. We did not. I don't know. My family never really sticks around for the nighttime shows. I kind of thought maybe we would a little bit. I wasn't too worried because I knew I was going to the Halloween party, and I would catch those shows that night. But we usually don't. I think by that time we're usually like ready to get back to the room and go to sleep.
That's fair.
Yeah,
they're not for everybody. I mean,
yeah, I like them. I don't know why. We just don't ever hang out. Usually what we do though, if we are in the parks at the time, especially Magic Kingdom, we usually go hit rides.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people do.
Because the rides, the ride lines are a lot shorter. And so we'll go, we actually we didn't do it intentionally, but we actually timed it one year that we were on Big Thunder Mountain when the fireworks went off. And that was pretty neat.
Oh, that's gonna be cool.
Yeah. We also, 2 years ago, when we went for 4th of July, it was our check-in. We checked in on 4th of July, so we didn't have park reservations or anything. Right. We were staying at Art of Animation. So we rode the Skyliner over to Epcot and just waited around at the main gate. And I talked to one of the cast members. I'm like, when's a good time to get on the Skyliner so we can be up there when the fireworks went off? And he told us like 7:55, I think, because they were at 8. And so we just went, hung out for a little while, got right back on the Skyliner and happened to be on it when the fireworks were going off at Epcot. So that was pretty neat.
That's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
How was just the trip with your husband? When's the last time you got to do just like a you and Josh trip?
To Disney or in general?
Disney.
Like to Disney. So we went, when COVID was in 2020. So we did April of 2020, I believe.
Yeah.
Was the last time that we did. Now we've gone since then for cheer, for Olivia's cheer trips, because she stays with the high school. And so we've gone just he and I, but we don't usually do parks then. We just kind of hit Disney Springs and hang around in the resorts. But yeah, the full on Disney trip was just he and I. And that one was a little more relaxed because we didn't park hop that time. I picked Animal Kingdom because it was my favorite. And at the time, Epcot was his favorite. So it was more chill. We literally spent 9 hours just walking around Animal Kingdom and doing stuff. And we both kind of talked about it a little bit, even though we both had intentions to kind of make it a chill trip. But in the moment, we didn't really want to go back. Because we were kind of contemplating after the morning, maybe going back to the room, taking a nap, and then going back out. And the first day, he was like, let's just go to Magic Kingdom. So we kind of made it a little bit busier than I think we intended to, by hopping to, 3 parks a day. But it was still fun. We had a good time overall, and it was fun experiencing a new resort, that I haven't stayed at before. And then the last day, on Friday morning, we didn't have any plans that day since it was, we were checking out. So we did go over and have breakfast, and because I'm like, I have to have Mickey waffles at least once on the trip.
Yeah, of course.
Other days we just ate lunch and dinner. We didn't eat breakfast. So I went over and had some Mickey waffles before heading out for the day.
Did you have the Mickey beignets while you stayed there?
I did not, because they were only at French Quarter, which I think is crazy. they're only at French Quarter. I don't understand why they don't have them on both sides. I'm like, I mean, it's even in one's French Quarter, but Riverside is still a Louisiana-based resort, and there's beignets all over Louisiana. So, so no, it was funny though, because when we were standing out in the area, standing by the horse and carriage, there was a couple. It was an elderly couple that was walking by, and they had a bag of beignets, and there was the cast members that were waiting to check people in, and they were like, "Do you want one?" And one of the girls was so excited, so they opened up the bag and let her grab a beignet. So I was like, "Hey, can I take a picture of your beignet? Because I'm not going over to French Quarter this trip." So she held it up, and I took a picture of the Mickey beignet.
Don't question.
Yeah. So, but that was it. That was our Disney trip. And Josh, actually, he had a while before his flight, so he Ubered over with me to Universal and kind of hung out there for a little while before he headed over to the airport.
Okay. Would you stay at Riverside again?
Probably not.
No.
But I mean, it depends. French Quarter, yes. And I hate saying that because I do quote it for people. I think it's a nice resort. However, it just depends on the level of walking that you do want to do at the end.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing with Pop Century, like or Caribbean Beach. Like both of those.
I was gonna say it's the same as Caribbean Beach. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and honestly, like
pay for it.
Yeah, when we're going in February, we're staying at Saratoga Springs. I changed it. I was supposed to be staying at Caribbean Beach, but since it's cheer trip, we're not going to be hitting the parks, and we're going to be spending a good bit of time at Disney Springs. So it just kind of made sense. And that's one that I haven't stayed at. So like I said, they're all big, so it doesn't really matter where. It just kind of wasn't my favorite. I don't know. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but I don't know. I would definitely, I mean, I probably would say again. I don't know. It just depends on what's available at the time. I'm going to pick and choose. If it's between that and, off-site, absolutely, I would say that.
Oh, yeah. I still will not stay off-site. Nope, couldn't do it.
Me either. I was talking to Melissa this morning, and I know they go often, and so it benefits them to stay off-site, but I just don't know that I can.
Yeah, I was working with a client a couple of weeks ago, and they were wanting to find a place that was off-site but was within their budget and had Disney transportation, and I was like, "You're asking for a lot."
Yeah, it's so difficult. I know. I was talking with a lady today, and that was referred from a friend, and that's what I told her. I was like, if you stay off-site, I mean, there's some people that have to. And look, absolutely. if it's between staying off-site or not getting to go to Disney, absolutely stay off-site. We'll make it work. We find something. Yeah. But if it's price-wise, a lot of times you just got to finagle it. I mean, stay at All-Star Movies.
Yeah.
Because if you stay off-site and you get a hotel, then you got to pay for parking, or you got to Uber or Lyft, because those shuttles don't run all day like the Disney buses. It's on a schedule. So you're limited on what you can do. So you just got to weigh all the options and see what works best.
I was looking at a couple of those different resorts, or a couple offsite hotels, and there was one shuttle there and one shuttle back, and that was your option. Right. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
But okay, cool. Well, it sounds like you had a good Disney portion, minus a little bit of rain, but didn't impact you too much. So not too bad.
Yeah.
Any comments before we dig into Universal? I'm excited to talk Universal because it's the first time talking Universal on this podcast.
I know. And I didn't do a whole lot on this trip. I mean, I did some Universal stuff, but I've been before, so we can definitely need to incorporate some Universal stuff. But no, I mean, the one thing I'll say about Disney is just like with everything else, you just got to go with the flow. Kind of how you said, with the kids, the weather is going to be the weather. If you go in the summer months, 9 out of 10 times it's going to rain at some point at Disney. But usually it doesn't rain all day. It just depends. I mean, I also did go in hurricane season, and so you just got to take those things into consideration. But put on a poncho and go into parks. I say it's better to be at Disney in the rain than to be at home. Yeah. So you just make the best of it.
Yeah, absolutely. all day.
Yep. And if you do decide to go in the summer, we have some tips for that too, because it does get brutally hot. So
even in September, it was a little rough. I was like,
ooh. It was hot in October. Like when I just went, it was I told Josh, I feel like it was hotter this trip than June. But when we went in June, we did have a little bit of rain and overcast.
Yeah.
You know, when we went with the family. So I was like, it was super hot. The Universal days were extreme this trip.
Yeah.
So
Universal. Let's talk Universal. Where
yes.
you transferred over to Universal.
Yes.
How was that? Did you guys have a car? Did you guys use Mirrors Connect?
No, we just Ubered.
Okay, so then you just
usually
Ubered
if it's with Josh and I, when it's just the two of us, we'll Uber or Lyft. When we go with the family, then I actually use Away We Go.
Okay, yeah, I remember you talking to me about that before.
Yeah, but we just hopped in an Uber, and a lot of times I price both of them. A lot of times, Lyft is always cheaper. Yeah. So usually, like I'll pull both of them up and check, and whichever one has the cheapest price, then I'll do that. So most of the time, it's Lyft. And then I also learned recently that you don't just take the Uber X or the lowest of the Lyft, because that's when you could maybe get a shady driver. So we always do the XL now. So I learned that last year when we were in February when we were in Dallas. That was a tip that we learned. So
yeah, I always upgrade, pay the extra money to get a nicer car.
Yeah, definitely. So we left there, and it's so funny because when we were staying at Aventura, which is actually where my family and I stayed over the summer. But there was a couple checking in front of me that just left Port Orleans and was heading over as well.
Wow.
So it was, so they kind of did the same thing that we did. But this trip, so we had 10 of us that were actually staying. Well, actually, no, because 2 of them live in Orlando. So there was 5, 6, 7, 8 of us that stayed at Aventura. 5 of us shared a suite. So the way that it works is they have a kid suite. So the kid suite, a king bed, and then there's a wall with like a curtain where you can go into a second room that has twin beds.
Yep.
And then there's another little room that has like a sofa sleeper. Then you can also get a connecting queen room. And so we actually had 2 queens, then the king, 2 twins, and then the sofa sleeper.
Yeah.
So 5 of us shared that suite. And so I actually had the 2 queen area to myself. And then the lady, one of them had the king room, and then the other one she wanted the sofa sleeper. And then the other 2 shared the queen room. So it was very spacey. We had 2 bathrooms, so that was the 2 showers, because, you put 5 ladies in one room.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to shower and get dressed. Surprisingly, we never interacted or never interfered with each other when it was time to shower. It was just kind of random. So that was a little surprising, but it worked out, and it was comfortable.
Yeah.
The only thing, and I did not notice this when we went in June, but also we did a little bit different stuff. So one day we were hanging out at the pool area by the pool bar. And there was some sort of smell that we couldn't really figure out what it was. It was like first. So let me back up. We had been in the parks all day, and then it was so hot, so we decided to leave. And so we were like, okay, is it us? Because we've been walking in the parks all day, but then we realized it wasn't. It was almost like a body odor, but sewer something. So we all kind of came to the conclusion that we probably wouldn't recommend this if people want to go and hang out by the pool area. It was really strange. The hotel overall, it's really nice. It's more of like a moderate vibe. It's not something that I would recommend to anyone with small kids.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have, the Universal hotels aren't the same as Disney, where it's like Disney threw up all over the walls and the decorations. But this one is more, it's almost kind of like not on the same level as Coronado, but Coronado, how it doesn't really have Disney theme. Aventura is kind of the same way.
Okay.
So it's definitely something, for like early 20s and up, those kind of folks. They do have a rooftop bar that's pretty loud at night. They have, a video game area. The pool area is very small too. There's not any like splash pads or anything like that for the kids. It's really not a kids resort
Very
at all.
low-key type resort.
Yeah, but the food though is really good. So like if you're not going to go sit out by the pool bar, I would definitely recommend it. And maybe they would just have an off day with whatever the smell is, But the food is really good. They have really same thing. They have like the wood fire pizza was really good. They have a wok bowl station that was really good. Then they have another section where they have like the typical stuff that you can get, like burgers and chicken tenders. It's kind of more upscale quick service food.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, when we went in June, the only thing I noticed too that they didn't have desserts. Like they had a gelato station, but like you couldn't walk up anywhere and get like a cupcake or a cheesecake. The kind of thing when you're on vacation, you want to snack on junk food.
Yeah.
But however, when we went this trip, they did have more desserts. So, which the lady said that was new.
Yeah, okay.
So I mean, overall, it is a nice restaurant, a nice hotel. The food is great. The rooms are really clean and good. It's just the pool area is lacking, I think, for kids. So we did that. So the first day, moving over from Disney to Universal, I think it was probably around 1:00 or so. We did head over to the parks. So we went over to the Universal Studio side. And we had dinner reservations at Cowfish for 6. So we were like, we'll just hit up, whatever we can do while we were there. So we did a few rides. And again, this was kind of a business trip. So we were really focusing on looking at things that we and stuff that was new we could share with clients more than being ride heavy.
Right.
So we went into the new DreamWorks area, which I had been there in June, but the other ladies hadn't. So overall, Universal is really more for older kids and adults. There's not a lot of stuff for young kids to do. The DreamWorks area is definitely something that's focusing more for the small kids. However, I don't know that it's enough to really keep them busy for multiple days.
And this is on the Universal side of the house? It's not on the...
Yes, it's on the Universal side. So there's, there's the Shrek area. They have a Trolls area, which there's a little troll roller coaster. They have a neat little section in the back. It's Kung Fu Panda. And so it's almost like the Turtle Talk with Crush. So it's like a live kind of show. It's a cartoon screen.
Right.
But they interact with the audience. And so that was really cute. They would call in the kids to come up, to sit closer. So it was definitely something where they were interacting. And then they put on like a little show where they're, doing their Kung Fu and fighting. Now the song just popped in my head, Kung Fu Fighting. There's a little splash pad area there. Be prepared to get soaked because there's this bucket that fills up. And so when Josh and I and the kids went, we kind of stood on the side and were watching because people that didn't know. And I mean, it's a massive bucket. So it's like when it dumps, it's not like a little gallon of water. I mean, it is like gallons and gallons of water. You will get drenched. So, but some of the kids had bathing suits on and they were playing in that area. There's like, they were prepared, but there was a couple that was not prepared and got soaked. So it was kind of funny. And then they have like some little seesaws and things like that in that area. There's the Trolls, I think I said, with the Troll roller coaster. So I mean, it's enough to do for a little while, but I would say probably like an hour or so, and you probably have maxed out that section.
Yeah.
But it's neat. It's new. And then they do have the Cat in the Hat area too.
Oh yeah.
That's focused for smaller kids. So So we did, after we did the DreamWorks area, we went over and there's a new Minions cafe. And so we wanted to kind of check that out. So we ate lunch there. And I actually had this mac and cheese. And then there was like little minion shaped tater tots that was in the mac and cheese. It was so good. But it was like a white cheese mac and cheese. And it was really good. It wasn't like, your box mac and cheese. It was pretty elevated. And then one of my friends got the loaded tater tots. And again, it was the minion shaped tater tots. And they had, the cheese and sour cream. It was a neat little quick service with some different options.
Yeah.
And then the funny thing about it is when you go in the bathroom, it's scented. So it was like banana scented in the bathroom. Yeah. Super cute area. So after that, we decided we were going to go. There's a Minions, a new Minion. Oh, I'm having memory issues. I can't remember what it's called, but you basically stand. It's almost like, a Target game. So you're standing on like this conveyor belt. And this one's new. It's probably within the last year, if not even that long. And you just ride you're standing on the conveyor belt, and then there's this 3D screen.
Yep.
Yes. And you're shooting. I can tell you if you're like intense or like really want to challenge yourself and your friends, there, like you can register on the app and then it'll like register what your points are. You load your gun in there. We were like, you know what? We're just going to shoot at whatever. I don't know if I was shooting at the right stuff or just shooting whatever, but it's pretty fun. That's something else that little kids would like to do too. And then what else did we do that day? We did, I think that was all the rides we did. And then we headed over to Cowfish for dinner.
Love Cowfish. So yes. There's one back in Raleigh. I haven't eaten the one at Universal, but I've eaten one back in Raleigh, North Carolina. We loved going to Cowfish.
Yeah, so the first time that we ate there was when I went with Josh and the kids over the summer, and we didn't have any reservations, so we just walked up at like 5, and I was like, "Do y'all, take walk-ups?" And they were like, "Yep, y'all are the last ones. Y'all come." And so we went straight in and sat at a table. Wow. Yeah, and that trip we got the calamari, which the calamari comes with this sweet chili sauce. That sauce was so good that I ordered extra to eat with my fries.
Yeah,
it was amazing. I got a burger and fries, and it was really good. So this time I wanted to try something different. So I got the tuna poke bowl. And so when we went in, all 13 of us went to eat there. And so only 10 of us, because the 3 from Disney didn't come. 10 of us went. So they ended up sitting us at 2 separate tables, like right next to each other. The tables were these round, like it was the round booths.
Mm-hmm.
When I sat down, I'm like, because, I'm not too tall. The table was literally almost up to my chin. I'm like, how am I going to eat like this? So, I made it work, but it was so funny because like we're all just kind of sitting around and you just almost see like a bunch of heads sitting up over the table. But that one, the poke bowl was really good. It's just got some rice at the bottom and it was like avocados and the tuna and the sauce on it. It was super good.
I'm not a sushi guy. I stick on this cow side of Cowfish.
Oh, on the cow. Yeah. It's funny because I will do tuna, but I'm not a salmon person. So I don't, sushi and stuff that has salmon in it.
Yeah.
But I'll do tuna. I don't typically eat raw tuna. I didn't realize it was totally raw when I ordered it. I guess I didn't pay enough attention, but I will eat it raw. So it was fine. It was really good. And we just kind of hung out there for a while, just chit-chatting. It was our first night with everybody meeting up. We had 2 agents that were local, so they came and hung out with us. And then the rest of us were, just kind of catching up because everybody kind of staggered in throughout the day. So we weren't all walking around the park that day. And then one of the things that we did not realize, one of the locals told us, when in City Walk, there is the Epic Universe Center. Yep. So we walked in there and there's this model of what Epic Universe is going to be. It's massive.
That needs to be an episode, by the way.
Yeah, we can definitely, because there's an app that you can get, and when you get the app, you scan the model. They have the little QR codes,
Mm-hmm.
and it open on the phone. It opens up what the rides are going to look like, or what the hotel is going to look like. I mean, it was awesome. Like you're watching on your phone, like you're looking at this plain white building on the model, and when you're looking at your phone, you can
That's
see
cool.
the inside, the coaster, and how it's moving. And oh yeah, I'm super excited. I cannot wait for that to open. It's going to be amazing, especially just looking at the model and the different things that they have.
Yeah, it's going to be intense, but
it's going to be, yeah, I'm excited for the Mario area, because that was one of the high points of why we wanted to go to Hollywood.
Yeah.
To do Universal, but we didn't make it over there. So yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be interesting. I'm going to wait a little bit. I'm not going to go when it first opens, because it's going to be.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Man, we were talking about that just the other day. We were talking about maybe doing a Universal trip next year, because maybe one of these days they're going to announce when it'll open. And stay at that Helios hotel. That's literally, it's just like Disneyland. It's connected to the park, so you can literally walk right into the park.
Yeah, and that was one of the ones. Next time I see you, I'll show you. That it opened up where you can kind of see what the inside of the hotel is going to look like.
Yeah,
so pretty cool.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out a time to go to Epic Universe once it opens, but it'll probably be 2026. Yeah, before we make it out there.
Fun. Yep. So that was day one, and then we just kind of went back to the hotel and just hung out in our room, which I won't bore our lovely listeners and watchers with this. But day one, it was really good, because one of the things that we like to do too is to strategize and talk about, what's working for someone else that we may not know. So we did a lot of talking that evening, just about different strategies, which I have since come home and like revamped all of my documents to clients based on a conversation that we had. So it was definitely good on the business trip side.
Yeah.
Then on day two, so the original plan was that we were going to wake up early and drop, because we wanted to go hit Hagrid's. But we didn't do that. We decided to sleep in a little bit. And again, we were chit-chatting again in the morning in the hotel about some different strategies, and looking at different programs that we each use. And then we headed over to Islands of Adventure, and we did ride Hagrid's. So we went and got in line for Hagrid's, which is the best ride,
hands down.
I think Hagrid's is actually probably my favorite out of. It's tight with Guardians of the Galaxy. Those two are hand in hand, but Hagrid's is one of the best rides. So typically, I'm always the sidecar rider, because usually. So the first time, I don't know if I've told this story to you. The very first time so I don't research anything before I go to parks. I want to experience stuff without knowing anything about it. And I've said before that, Josh isn't really like a coaster person.
Right.
The first time we went to Universal, we got in line for Hagrid's, and I'm like, if you're riding on a motorbike, it can't be that bad. Like, you're going to be fine. So we're riding it, and Josh was on a motorbike and I was in a sidecar, and I was like, I don't want to spoil it for people who maybe haven't ridden it, so I won't give all the details, but there were certain things that I was looking at him. I was like, I am so sorry. This is not just a motorbike ride.
I know the exact part you're talking about.
Yeah. And so, so he did not love it, but it is so awesome. So any other time that we've gone, like if we go with the kids, then it's just the three of us riding. So usually I'm the one who rides with, like a random person. And so last time we went, it was a kid. So I don't want to make the kid get in the sidecar. So I've never ridden on the motorbike, but when we went this trip,
finally got to do it.
I rode the motorbike, and I was like, wow, totally different experience. Mm-hmm. Way better than even riding in the sidecar.
Yeah.
So I definitely recommend, if you're going and you have the chance to ride on the motorbike, go for it, because it was so much fun.
Did you guys do?
It's like hands down the best ride.
What's the one in Hogwarts? Harry Potter and
So they have the Forbidden Journey, and then they have the. We did not. And I
that is
swear.
one that is like Hagrid's is up there, but like right there below. That is like one of my favorites.
So I'm trying to think because there's the Forbidden Journey, and then there's the I'm not a Potter person, so is it Gringotts?
Escape from Gringotts. Yeah, that's a really good one too.
One of them, I've heard horror stories about it making you sick. So whichever one, I haven't done either one.
That.
Okay, yeah. So I'm like, no, I'm good.
Is this like I'm trying to think like you're like back in a car kind of, and it's like you're on a broom, and it does a really good job of like the 4D like interface like on a broom. And I remember it like I mean it's been 4 years since we went, 4 or 5 years, but I remember it very vividly. There's definitely you could get motion sickness easily on that thing.
Yeah, I'm 90% sure that when we went on our agency trip a few years ago, that someone threw up and it might have gotten on someone. So I was like, once I heard that, I was like, not somebody from my agency, like she got thrown up on. So I was like, no, I'm good. I do get motion sickness, so I got to be careful on what I do. You got to
be careful with that one. It can really like the movements and like you really feel like in the broom riding experience.
Yeah, no. So this day, so then after we did that, we ended up having lunch at Three Broomsticks, which was really good. I got the shepherd's pie.
Okay, I'm pretty sure Rachel got that.
Yes, it was really good. I love shepherd's pie, and I wasn't sure what else to try. I ate a lot of it. And then I got some fries on the side because for whatever reason, this trip I was craving fries. And so that was really good. And then of course we left and had to go get a butterbeer.
Of course.
So it was hot. This was probably the hottest day. So having the frozen butterbeer was so good to just kind of cool off. I haven't tried the other ones. So I guess maybe if I ever go when it's cold, I'll try the hot one.
The hot one is like, that's how I make it at home. Like in the winter, I make my own hot butter beer, and it's just. But of course, when we went to Universal, it was like January, so it was a warm butter beer. It was perfect.
If you know how to make butterbeer, I'm gonna have to get you to either give me the recipe or if you know how to make it cold. Olivia loves butterbeer. That's one of the reasons why she gets mad when I go to Universal, because I get to get butterbeer.
You know what? You're familiar with Heather's Farm?
Mm-hmm.
I assume, because last time we got yelled at when we didn't go to Heather's Farm. We went out there yesterday. That's where we were, and there was somebody selling cold butterbeer, and it was just like the parks.
Oh wow, that's awesome. We also somebody did get at the at Three Broomsticks got the potted one, I think it's called. It's like the pudding.
Mm-hmm.
But that was really good. I liked it. And it's
crazy
kind
how
of
much butterbeer stuff there is. There's butterbeer ice cream, butterbeer popsicles, butterbeer drinks. Like,
I know our intention was we were going to all get something different. And like she got the potted one, and then a couple of us got the frozen one. She got just the regular one. We wanted to get the fudge and get the ice cream. Yeah. You know, we were going to take pictures of all the different ones, but it literally was so hot that day that me and one friends were like, okay, we've had enough. So we decided to go back to the resort. And then the other two, you know, kind of hung around a little bit longer, which is when her and I kind of went and sat at the pool bar and had a pina colada and waited for the rest of the folks to get back.
Yeah.
And then we had dinner at, I know I'm going to say this wrong, Amatista's, which was at Royal Pacific. So one of the things I didn't realize was that those were kind of close. So we never went. We walked from Aventura to Royal Pacific and then took the ferry over to the parks and bus. So we ate dinner there, and that was, again, all 10 of us went. we kind of shared some things. I got a chorizo queso dip that was really good.
That sounds good.
And then for whatever reason, I got pizza again, a flatbread, basically pizza. And then we got some tropical sangria and shared that. What other appetizers did we have? Somebody got some mussels. It was really good. I didn't taste those, but the flatbread was really good. The chorizo queso, like I could have just ate that.
Cool.
It was,
that was
yeah, it was really good. And then a few of us again stayed up and were kind of chit-chatting on strategies, and some of the other ladies were out at the rooftop bar
living their best life.
Living their best life, yes. And then the next day was super fun. So we're up until this point, I have had hot days, extremely hot days, rainy days, not a whole lot of rain. So Sunday was our Discovery Cove day, and that evening was doing Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. So we get up for Discovery Cove. We were swimming with the dolphins, and so a few of us were doing Mickey's Not So Scary, and some were doing Halloween Horror Nights. So we knew we needed to get back early enough. Yeah, I'll talk about that one.
One of these days I will live that life. But anyway. Continue.
Oh no, I am not living that life. So we wanted to get to Discovery Cove early so that we can get an early dolphin swim and, and have time to spend the day there. And for those who don't know, Discovery Cove, it's almost like an all-inclusive resort. So you pay a ticket price to get in. That price includes food and drinks for the day. It's like a buffet style. And then there's a lazy river there, and you can snorkel with the stingrays and tropical fish. There's like a bird sanctuary. There's some other animal encounters. There's extra stuff that you can pay for. So we paid extra to do the dolphin swim. So the morning we get up, of course, we're on our way there. It's raining, like not just drizzling at this point either. It's pretty raining pretty heavy. And so it slacked off a little bit once we got checked in, and we also rented a cabana. So within the cabana, because we knew we were going to be there for most of the day. So I think you could put 7 in a cabana, and so splitting it between 7 wasn't bad. So we cabanas for all of us. And inside the cabana, it comes with free beer and wine if you choose to drink that as much as you want. The guy I didn't drink any. I can't day drink for one. And I knew I needed to last all day and into the evening, so I didn't have any. But yeah, they were down in some wine, and he was just bringing it. You also can upgrade your ticket to get like the tropical drinks if you choose to. Yeah. You can add that onto your ticket. So we get there. We actually got a 12 o'clock dolphin swim, which still wasn't bad. But at that point, we're like, well, maybe it'll stop raining as much. It was cold and raining most of the day. So we did while we were waiting, we went and did the lazy river. I don't want to spoil that either. There's some section. It really wasn't like a flowing kind of lazy river. Like we were like paddling, like pushing ourselves through. So we're getting a workout in this lazy river, but it was so cool because it looked like you were, somewhere exotic, because it's like a man-made thing. So it's made to look like, crystal clear waters in some section. There's some waterfalls throughout. So it was pretty neat. It probably took us 20 minutes or so to get through the entire thing. So it's really long, and then if you want to, go through multiple times, there are some spots where you can get out to avoid actually, I'll post a video of myself going through the waterfalls. It's not your typical waterfall. It's pretty intense. Yeah. But you can get out at the sections before if you don't want to go through and walk around. We didn't realize that. We were just floating along and it was too late. Like we just had to go through it.
Commit.
Yeah. we were committed. And then it was 2. So we're like, well, we already did 1, so we might as well just keep going. And then we got out and then we went snorkeling. I love to snorkel. I've done it twice on cruise excursions. However, I'm horrified of sharks, as should most people be. Yeah. So usually when I'm snorkeling,
that's Rachel's sister-in-law. She'll tell you they're misunderstood creatures, but that's a story for another day.
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, but I get it. We're in their environment. So, but it still freaks me out.
Of course.
So usually when I'm snorkeling the whole time, instead of looking for fish, I'm looking around and make sure that a shark's not coming to get me. So this was nice because we were able to snorkel without worrying about a shark coming. Shark free. Well, it's funny because one of the guys, I guess it was, our attendant said something about sharks. I'm like, wait, what, sharks? And the lady who kind of organizes, she's like, there's no sharks in this water. I promise you, I'm not lying to you. There is a section where if you wanted to go and do like how we swam with the dolphins, you can do the shark excursion. But I wasn't, The only thing it was when you're in the water though, like they're huge stingrays and they're like swimming like right under you.
Yeah.
So it was a little scary at first because I do remember. And then one of the things I'll say is nobody really gave any guidance. So like we just walked up, got our snorkel gear and just went in the water. But I remember from some of the excursions that I've done where they say, don't step in the sand, like scoot your feet because there's times where they can burrow under the sand.
Yeah.
So the first time one swam like right underneath me, I think I might've screamed a little bit.
Is there a video? Because that's what we want to see.
There's no video of that, unfortunately. But when my friend that was with me, she was laughing. She goes, that was funny. I'm like, I guess I wasn't expecting them to come that close, but they were just right there at a fish. Something scared me. But yeah, they right under you. It was super cool to be able to just, float through there and look at there's a lot of tropical fish and a lot of stingrays. So we did that. And then it was time to go over and do our dolphin swim. And so again, our group was large. So they had to separate us into 2 groups. And so when we were doing the little intro video section, they were like, the water's like waist deep. So like you don't even have to put on a life jacket or anything. And so when they split us up, Kim, who is probably as tall as me, we're walking out. And then it took a lot longer to walk from the shore to where we needed to go because the water was absolutely freezing. I mean, like, I feel like my lips were probably going to turn blue. Like it was so cold, my body was trembling. But we were like, we're doing this. Like we paid for it. We're going to get our money's worth and do it. And so Kim and I are walking out so slow. And then when we get to the section that we're going, we realize that the water is like, it's almost up to not quite up to our neck, but close. And then we look at our friends across the pond or whatever it is. And it's like literally like waist deep. But like all the tall people got the shallower section, us short folks are over here where it's super deep. But I tell you what, if I could go back when the weather's a little bit nicer, I would absolutely do it again. It was so much fun. We got, of course, the dolphins do all the tricks, and the trainers are telling you, like how they train them and how they get them to do the tricks, telling you a little history about them. And then you actually get to swim where it pulls you for a ways.
Yeah.
And then we get to do photo ops. So we've done a dolphin encounter before on when we did Braden's senior cruise. And it was basically, we just kind of stood there and they let it run past, swim past us and we pet it. And that was it. Like this one, you actually got to interact, we got to, we held on to the fins and it swam us across. And then we got to stand with it and, like let it do tricks. We rub its belly and it was super neat, super neat. I think it would be, and we didn't spend all day. So we really didn't do a lot of the other encounters. They have, like the otter section. Yeah. There was, the bird sanctuary. So if we were planning all day, there's definitely stuff that you can do all day and then your food and drinks are included. So it's one price to get in and then you can just stay there and eat and drink. And I haven't posted any of my trip photos yet just because I need to organize them. But once I do, I'll share those on my social media with some postings so folks can go and check it out. But then once we were finished with Discovery Cove, and really at this point, I was so cold that I was like, I'm just going to call it a night. Like, I'm going to go take a shower and I'm going to just be done. But we did have our tickets for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. And I did want to go, I didn't want to not enjoy it. And so just one of my friends and I went from Aventura to Mickey's Not So Scary. And we met up with 3 other folks. And so we were dressed as Inside Out characters. And so I'll share that picture too. We got the little light up ears that matched everybody's emotion. And it's funny because I can't remember who I told. So 2 of them went on a cruise together and they actually got to see the premiere of Inside Out while they were on the cruise. And so they had Inside Out shirts already. So the rest of us were kind of just picking from the leftover emotions. And I had shoes and stuff that would match with anger. So I was anger, which does not fit my character at all in any way, but I didn't care. I was like, I like the color red. So it was perfect. And so when we got to the park, so the last 2 years, because this is my 3rd year in a row doing the party, the last 2 years we were already in the park before the party started. So this was the first year that we went over, just for the party, and the line was massive to get in. And we didn't even go at 4. I think it was probably around 5 or so, 5:30 when we went there. But it didn't really take long. I think the longest it took was so we went on the ferry and took the ferry over to Magic Kingdom. And then, maybe 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes we were in line, which, I mean, that's how much you're going to wait to get in a ride too.
Yeah.
It was kind of still misting. So we were out in the rain a little bit. And one of my friends booked dinner for the plaza. And so we joined them for dinner there. I think our reservation was like at 5:45. I really wasn't that hungry yet, but I knew I needed to eat something because we were going to be, hanging out in the park. So I just got the baked potato soup, which was really good. It wasn't my favorite menu though. The menu was very limited and I'm not sure. I looked to see, and I think it's the same menu during the day and, like at dinner. They do have like some specialty items for the party nights. Like the hamburger had a black bun and it just wasn't a lot of food choices to choose from. I think what they ate, I think the burger they said was really good. One other person got the potato soup, and the baked potato soup was really good. So it wasn't that the food wasn't good. It just wasn't a whole lot of choices. And then at that point, it wasn't raining. And so we should not have spent time in the restaurant. We should have probably, even though the party hadn't started, we could have done some other stuff. And then after that, we went trick-or-treating for a little bit. We hit up a few trick-or-treat stations. And then we didn't do a whole lot of rides. It was a rainy night. And so I think you and I discussed, like, I felt bad for folks, like if that was their first time going to a party. I mean, it wasn't like pouring rain. So it wasn't like miserable up, until later when we left. But still, like, especially thing that was most frustrating is because, we were dressed up. And so then you put ponchos on and you're like covering up your costume. Even though it was just a t-shirt and shorts, but
still.
Yeah, but one of the things we did was we caught the first parade. Now, the first parade is usually like way crowded, I think, because people with little kids, they want to get the first parade. That way, if they don't last until the second one. We didn't see the stage show, but we did hit the parade, and we actually got a really good spot. So I have very clear videos of the parade. Because we didn't have anybody standing. The lady that was actually the family in front of us, the lady actually sat down with her kids. And so the people behind, so we were right behind them. So we were able to see everything.
Where'd you guys sit
so that was pretty cool. What's that?
Where'd you guys watch it from?
So, when you're coming from Tomorrowland, and right before you go into the circle, and they have that little popcorn cart. We were like right in front of that.
Okay.
So not too far from the castle. It's kind of like right when they come from Frontierland or whatever, and they kind of come around
right outside all the presidents.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually weren't sure because we were on the other side. One girl went to do Space Mountain. Oh, that was another thing. So me and the lady that came from Aventura, we kind of broke off and went and did our own thing. After that point, we kind of separated. They would go and do rides. We wanted to snack. So we went to Anti-Gravity's and got the candy corn ice cream sundae. So that was, we wanted to try it last year, her and I, but we didn't find it, or like we were on the opposite side when we found out what it was. So it was pretty neat. It was like the soft serve ice cream that was like a sweet corn flavor. And then there was some kind of shell over it. I don't know if it was caramel or not, but then they had candy corn like inside of it.
That does sound good.
Yes, it was so good. So we did that. And then once we got the ice cream, she was like, well, you want to see if we can catch the parade? So we just went and watched the parade and ate our ice cream.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And then we headed over. We like doing Haunted Mansion for the Halloween party. It's like a must do. So we went and did Haunted Mansion. And at this point, it was probably about 9:45. And it started raining. And it was like raining that didn't kind of seem to be letting up. So we headed over to Casey's Corner and got some corn dog nuggets. And I got a pumpkin pumpkin cheesecake. But we took it to go. So we took it to go. And they won't package it to go, but they give you to go boxes. So we just had to pack it ourselves. And then we walked through the shops, and then probably about 10 o'clock, 10:15, we headed over to TTC to get an Uber back. Again, we really didn't have intentions on staying till the end. I mean, I guess if it was nice weather, then maybe we would have, but we knew we weren't going to stay all night. And we kind of did the stuff that we wanted to do. I mean, I could talk about the party because I've had 2 years before where I went where we had beautiful weather, and there's so much to do. And I absolutely recommend, doing the party at least once, if you can. But since we had already been, this was our 3rd year in a row, we didn't feel like we were missing anything. And at this point we were just ready to get out of the rain and head back to the resort. And so, we called it a night, went back to the resort, and that was it. Our trip was officially ending. Most folks were flying out the next day, super early. So that was the extent of the business side of it.
Okay. What was your favorite part about Universal?
Hagrid's.
Of course. Always.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't say I got to ride the Mummy for the first time.
I really enjoyed the Mummy.
Yes. Every time we've gone, the Mummy was either closed for some reason or was being refurbished. And so that was super fun. Yeah. That was a cool ride. I was a little nervous because, again, I don't research rides. And so I wasn't sure if it was something that was going to make me sick. I don't know why I thought that. Like, I don't know if I heard something or whatever, but it wasn't that at all. It was quick. It's not a very long ride, but super fun. I can't wait to go back and take the kids. I think they'll love riding on that.
Yeah. It's a really good ride.
So it was fun. I think my favorite thing though was just, I love connecting with the ladies in my agency. I've been doing this since November of 2020, but some of them, that was with, like, one of maybe 2 of them that was with us are like original mouse counselors. Like, they've been with the agency since it opened. And so, just getting to learn from those folks and see what works for them and, things that they do and share with their clients. So I think my clients will benefit because I'm, kind of reworking some of the things that I'm doing now. So that way I can, give them some different information.
Yeah. And I mean, you've given some solid, tips and tricks throughout, your trip recap. Like, what would you say is the best tip or trick that you learned from this trip?
I think because of the weather, going is just learning to adapt. Of course, it's very disappointing when, because a lot of people spend a lot of time, months, planning for a trip. And I did tell a lady that I was speaking with today, like, I know some folks are like, oh, this is a once in a lifetime trip. That may be true for some folks, but I feel like once you go once, you're going to want to go back.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Just take it with a grain of salt, do what you can, like put on the ponchos, stick it out in the rain if you can. And honestly, a lot of times when it's raining, a lot of folks will leave. And so lines get shorter.
Yep.
One thing I've learned this trip, and this was really day one of our Disney park days. So I have worn reef flip-flops to every trip and my feet don't hurt. Yep. I'm like, people are like, I don't know how you wear flip-flops. I'm like, I can't wear tennis shoes. Like if my feet start sweating, it makes me hot and I feel worse. Well, day one of walking in the flip-flops and I got huge blisters on both of my feet underneath. And so the second day that Josh and I were in the parks, was kind of miserable. And I was trying not to let it be miserable because it was our last day in the parks and I didn't want to ruin the day for him. I did end up having to go to first aid at one point and just get some Band-Aids to cover him to help it from rubbing a little bit. Because the next day I wore socks and tennis shoes. So as much as you like wearing sandals and flip-flops and you feel like you can do it, the Crocs, I am 100% tennis shoes now. Like I absolutely recommend bringing more than one pair of shoes in the instance that if I only brought my flip-flops, I would have been in big trouble. Alternate shoes, different days, but definitely go. I got some Skechers when we were going last year, super comfortable. Just make sure that, you're not wearing new shoes and breaking them in, and be mindful. If you are going to wear flip-flops or some kind of sandals, get some moleskin or something, to coat your skin with before doing that, because I think it was the rain. So my feet were a little wet. And so it was just kind of to rub in. But yeah, just be mindful of the weather. The weather is what it is in Florida. Adjust as you can, go and have a good time and try not to, let it ruin or, frustrate you throughout your trip.
Yeah. Cool.
And eat all the snacks.
And eat all the snacks you can.
Vacation calories don't count. Go for it.
Then they count.
Until you get back, then you work them off. But
cool. Any last words before we close it out?
No, I think that's it. I'll be excited for us to. I don't even know what we're going to talk about next, but I'll be excited for us to kind of switch gears and see if we can focus on. Although it's so hard not to talk about Disney, I feel like it's always gonna to creep in.
Especially because here soon we're gonna have to do a trip recap for me for my 21-hour trip to Orlando.
Yeah, that's gonna be. You need to do some live videos or something video yourself. Like it's 3:00 in the morning and I'm heading to the airport, and then
all the videos, especially because I'm taking one of my coworkers who's never been to Disney.
Oh,
so I am super excited. But no, it'll be good. So we'll figure out. We got some time, but we'll figure out what our next topic will be. But definitely solid job. Really enjoyed hearing about your trip. I'm super glad that you had a great trip. And I look forward to doing more trip recaps when you go back next year.
Yes, me too.
Okay, cool. Well, as always, make sure you guys are following us on all of our platforms. I think on Facebook for right now, we're approaching that 60-day mark. But for right now, we are still Beyond the Castle. But here soon, we'll be able to switch that over to Going Beyond the Castle. You can also send us any emails at info@goingbeyondthecastle.com. Of course, the best way to find all things going on beyond the castle is on our beacons at beacons.ai /GoingBeyondTheCastle. So with that being said, again, Lori, thanks for covering your trip. It's been a pleasure as always, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for being part of this enchanting journey with us. Stay connected by following us on Facebook at Going Beyond the Castle Podcast and joining our community in the Going Beyond the Castle Podcast Lounge Facebook group. For all your travel needs, contact the official travel agents of the Going Beyond the Castle Podcast at info@beyondthecastlepodcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Until next time, see you real soon.